to look at how we install a DHCP server in a Windows Server 2008. We're going to use Server Manager to install, and we'll see how the new features are and how easy it is to install and authorize a DHCP server. What you're looking at right now is a Vista client, which is in a APIPA addressing mode. So you see 169.254. That's because it is not able to locate a DHCP server. So our objective today is to install the DHCP server and let this Vista client obtain an IP address. So I'm going to switch over to the domain controller. Within the domain controller itself, there's something new here called the Server Manager. So I'm going to launch Server Manager. Now it replaces the add and remove programs, and then in the Windows 2003, in Windows 2008 it's all being redesigned and placed into Server Manager. In this particular machine, I am going to click on roles, and you can see what are the current roles that's there. Alright, so since I'm going to add in a DHCP server, I'm going to click on add roles. Okay, the wizard will guide us through, so I'm going to just click on next and select the DHCP server. Now as I click on this, you'll probably notice on the left, okay, I'm going to remove it again. Notice on the left, alright, meaning to say this list grows dynamically. As I select more items, more list comes up. The wizard changes itself according to what you have selected. That's a feature of Server Manager. So in this case, I am just going to pick up DHCP server and click on next. Alright, and I can actually look at right now what are the additional information that I want to look at. I'm going to just click next here. Okay, for this particular virtual machine that I have only one network card, so logically I'm going to have my DHCP server serve that network segment that it's currently set up for. Next again. Alright, so this is my domain. Now what's new here is that I can have a DHCP scope defined and put in what is the preferred DNS server. So I'm also given the opportunity to validate it. So that makes sure that you always have a valid configuration set up in your DHCP server. I'm going to click on next. Alright, and I'm not going to use wins. You should move away from wins. I'm going to click on add scope. So I'm going to add a scope at the same time. So I'll just call this lab scope. IP address, in my setup here, I have the 192.168.1 segment. So I'm going to starting IP address starts from 1.100, and I'm going to have it end at 1.150. Alright, put in a class C subnet mask. Alright, and I'll leave the gateway as it is and click on OK. Now before I click on OK, there's actually this wired and wireless, so you could have an option of which is actually the lease period. So I'll explain the lease periods another time, but if you look at this, it's just saying that if you're on a wired connection, for which this scope is set up for, the lease period will be 6 days. If this scope is meant for wireless, this scope will be 8 hours. Alright, I'm going to click on OK. Notice this option on the left, activate the scope, click OK. I'm going to click on next right now. Alright, I'm just going to disable this IPv6 for DHCP version 6. Okay, I'm going to use the current credentials, which is the current account that I'm set up for, which I'm logged in with. Click on next and click on install. Now you notice the installation now is very simplified. I used to have to add the DHCP server function and then go to the DHCP console to activate it, to authorize it, and to add a scope and activate it. So all the steps has been combined into one wizard to make it easy for the installation. Okay, we are done with the installation. I'm just click on close, As of it is right now, DHCP server is there. I'm going to just switch over to the Vista client. Alright, and do an IP config/renew. Alright, so I have gotten an IP address successfully, which is 1.100, and if I do a IP config/all, I should see that my DHCP server, which is 192.168.1.1, which happens to be the DC1 box which I've installed it upon just now. Okay, thanks for joining me. We will have more videos coming up. See you around.